All right, welcome back to another show here at the Life School Masterclass Show. I'm your host, Elona, helping companies scale and align their purpose and profit. So today I have another amazing guest on sharing his experience with all of you in the effort to add value, but also to be able to communicate the service that he does towards other people and the way that he's also helping create impact and change for all of us. Christian Espinosa is here with us today. Christian, thank you so much for taking time to share your expertise with us and your experience with us. I truly appreciate your time and what you will share with us today.
Awesome. Well, thank you for so much for having me on, Elona. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Christian. So let's start with today. The topic generally will be around security, some of the things that we can do. Our audience is seasoned entrepreneurs and CEOs, so I will learn a lot around the work that you're doing, but also a lot of the people I'm sure will find value as to the work that you're doing in the world and what you have created. So let's start with the main problem that drove you to create what you create and the way that you help other people. What was that thing that you said, okay, I have to do something about this and I'm being called and this is a thing that I can contribute towards others? What was that moment for you? What was that main problem?
About 2.5 years ago, I almost died from 6 blood clots in my left leg, and this was right after I sold my first business. And thanks to a medical device, I was quickly diagnosed, and I'm still here because I was diagnosed quickly. And that made me decide to focus on medical device cybersecurity because I think if that medical device was recalled because somebody hacked into it, or if it gave a misdiagnosis or a false diagnosis, then I may not be here today. So that was like the impetus for me to spin off the medical device cybersecurity section from my parent company because they didn't want to do it, and focus that with this existing company to focus on helping medical device manufacturers secure their products.
Very interesting, and I hear it every day. And I also, a lot of the work that I do stems from personal experience of how we go through certain things in life, and either it's a passion or a pain that we overcome, and then we naturally just want to share that with others. So thank you for sharing that in your story as well, and in how you started with what you're doing as well. So is it that you have created a product? Like, tell me more around, educate us around the device that you have created or what you are sharing with us today.
So we don't have a product per se. We have a service. So a medical device manufacturer will come to us often early on and will help them design their device with security in mind. But often they wait to the very last minute. And in order to get the device approved on the market in the United States, they have to be approved by the FDA. The FDA has like really restrictive cybersecurity requirements now. They used to not, but because a lot of these devices have been hacked, they have really strict requirements. So we do all the documentation, all the testing. We try to hack into the device and break into it. And we work with the manufacturer to fix all the things we identify to make sure the device can get cleared by the FDA and it is actually secure. Because the last thing you want to have happen is somebody hack into a defibrillator and shock you to death, or hack into a drug infusion pump and increase the flow rate of a drug, which could kill you, or hack into a surgical robot and cause problem if it's with the robot if it's performing surgery on your spine, for instance, that could paralyze you. So we help make sure all these devices are secure.
Okay, I see. Beautiful. I wanted to kind of piggyback off something that you said with as far as selling your prior company and then starting this and growing and scaling what you're talking to us today. How was that experience for somebody that might be maybe, thinking of growing and scaling and then exiting their company? How was that decision made for you? What was some of the things that you have learned in the process of growing something and then selling it?
Um, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes with that transaction. It was during COVID. My former cybersecurity company, we did medical device cybersecurity, but it wasn't our focus. 40% of what we did was in-person training. So during COVID, all the in-person training went away. So I lost 40% of like my revenue source from my business. And we were able to pivot some, but I had an offer on the table at the same time to sell my company. I thought, okay, this is a little bit of good timing because I've lost 40% of my revenue and it's pretty stressful. I had to lay some people off, so maybe I should just sell the business. So I had gotten many offers before that, but I sold the business. I sold it for stock, which was, mistake number one, because the company that bought my business was on the OTC, the over-the-counter stock exchange, and they were gonna pivot to get on the Nasdaq. And I thought, okay, this is my moment. What we all dream about. The stock is gonna go crazy, all this stuff. So the company did get on Nasdaq, but the problem was while I was employed by the parent company, they had this continuous blackout period, so I could never sell the stock. So I had to end up leaving the parent company in order to sell the stock. And when I left, the stock was at like $5, but it quickly went down to like 8 cents. So, and I could only sell so many shares a day. So I saw, what I thought was quite a bit of money that I had made. It just sort of evaporated like daily as the stock went down to like 8 cents. So I am definitely not selling another company for stock.
And how did you manage that emotionally? Because there's tons of people right now. We often speak about our journey as entrepreneurs here as well. There's tons of people that are going through similar situations right now. It's tough out there, and the market has shifted, economy, all these outside factors which affect our businesses. So lots of people are considering either maybe exiting or pivoting what they're doing to meet the new needs of the market. Technology is doing its thing. Like, how did you overcome that emotionally, where you thought, obviously, your expectation was one thing, and then it turned out to be something else? Because I know personally that happens a lot in business. And a lot of the times, we don't know. We're not always prepared for those unknowns that happen to us in the journey. And for a lot of people, it could be an emotional roller coaster. So I was just curious to see like what did you learn from that and how did you overcome that emotionally?
I don't think I dealt with it very well emotionally because when I was working for the parent company, I tried to convince myself that the right thing to do was to stay with the company, be a good employee, be a good leader in the company, and try to maximize the stock price because I thought it would benefit me. Even though after I got in with the parent company, I realized that there was a lot of cultural misalignment. So I felt trapped and I tried to justify it like, well, I'll just stick it out and make, and try to get the stock to a higher price and try to be part of this train that's trying to, increase the stock price and do good and all this stuff. And I think that's largely why I developed those blood clots. It's a manifestation of feeling trapped, and I ignored my inner voice. My inner voice was telling me just freaking quit. It's causing a lot of emotional stress for you. Like what you're not making that much money with the parent company. You're just hoping this thing may happen, and you don't like the CEO of the company. There's all this friction, uh, and you can't sell the stock. So I rationally justified staying longer than I should have, which caused me, I think, physical pain, and I almost died basically because of the blood clots, I think, which is part of that reason I got them. And then also the financial pain because by the time I did quit, the stock was on its way down very rapidly. So yeah, it was very emotional and it was a hard thing for me to deal with. Um, but I'm just trying to make sure I don't make the mistake again. Don't pay the same dumb tax as they say the next time around.
Thank you for sharing that. And we all have those stories because, yeah, behind the scenes, not much people share that, right? We always see the highlights of anything that we're doing and the successes and all of that, but there's so much going on behind the scenes. And I feel like we have to talk about that because that's the only way we connect together and we can learn from each other's experiences. And back to what you said, I have myself been at the pretty much at the wall of making a decision where my gut and my mind is always in conflict and
Hmm.
it's so hard to know when to cut the cord. when to kind of step away, when to put the boundary up, when to let something go, because we usually rationalize it with so much energy we put into it or other reasons that we have. But I'm glad that eventually you listen to also your intuition, and you kind of just made that decision to take the next step. And it seems to be that pain point for you obviously led you to the next venture, so to speak, or the next idea and the way that you want to add value with that. So let's get back to the service that you offer for others. Who is your ideal customer? Who would this benefit, and what would be the transformation that you have seen from people that you have helped?
Yeah, my ideal customer, there's really two buckets for them. One of them is what we call a med tech innovator, a medical technology innovator. It's often a doctor that had this problem that they needed solving. It could be like a cardiac surgeon that needs a better catheter or something. So then they start a company and try to get funding to figure out how to develop this better catheter, this better technology to increase patient care, to make patient care better. So they will go through funding, and we will work with them to basically help them bring their product to market. And it's very rewarding for me because we're working with people that have something in mind that becomes a product that is helping humanity from a healthcare perspective. Like one of our clients, they have this technology that takes blood, basically dehydrates it, turns it into powder, and then reconstitutes it later on. So this solves the whole issue with storing blood and transporting blood, which is a major problem in healthcare. And that's just one example, but it's very rewarding for me to get to be part of this journey with these companies that are bringing these very innovative technologies to market that dramatically help humanity as far as healthcare. And so that's the small companies, and it's also the large companies is the other bucket, which have a suite of products, but they're adding a new product to their portfolio. We work with them as well as the small ones, and they're both different, but oftentimes I get the most excitement from working with the doctor that has a brand new idea and wants to see it become a reality and be along with that journey. It's very rewarding to see this idea become a product that then ends up helping patients.
And that would be my next question. Like, what is that change that you want to see in the world? And I think you kind of just dipped into it as you were talking about, your vision and the transformation that you see out there and what excites you most about the work that you're doing. But if you were to recap it, what would be the change that you want to see in the world based on the work you do, obviously?
Yeah, the change I want to see is helping these devices get to market faster and more cost effectively. Unfortunately, most people don't consider cybersecurity to the very end, like right before, like a few months before they're trying to get their device cleared by the FDA, for instance. And when they wait to the very end and they hire somebody like us, we find thousands of vulnerabilities and we're able to hack into the device, and it costs them, the manufacturer, a lot more money to fix everything, and it delays the submission, it delays the time to market, and it upsets investors. So we try to work with them early on to prevent that, and really just help them with that process, as much as we can, because I value vision and innovation, especially when it comes from a place of being able to help other people. And often there's a story behind it. Like there are a lot of things. Some of the people we work with, these innovators, like somebody it may not necessarily be a patient, it may be somebody, their family, or them personally have a health condition that nobody could give them answers for, and they came up with a solution, and now they want to share the solution with the world. So it's something that's very rewarding.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's the healthcare industry. I always say our health is our wealth. Without our health, we can't do all the things we want to do. We can't be the vision casters. We can't be the visionaries. We can do all the things that drive us and wake up us in the morning, and we have connected it to our purpose, is why we're here, and the work that we want to do, and it's meaningful to us, and we put so much energy into it every day as well. So Healthcare is definitely one of those fields that, if there is innovative solutions, of course, that will help the world become a better place, because at the end of the day, that is the most important priority for all of us as humans. Christian, I wanted to kind of just talk about some of your personal experience now. So as you have grown, gone into, been an entrepreneur, I'm not sure how many years you've been an entrepreneur, but through your journey as an entrepreneur, what are some personal lessons that you have learned? And it could be anywhere. It could be in the, main word that everybody uses, like work-life balance. How have you been? What are some of the lessons personally that you have learned as an entrepreneur, so that you are also fulfilled in other areas of life, not just the baby, which is the business or the mission?
Yeah, there's been quite a few lessons. I think a business is a reflection of the person running the business or the entrepreneur. So if your business is not growing, it's because you're not growing. So that's one of the lessons I've learned. When I've hit a wall, I realized that the wall is there because I haven't evolved myself. I haven't done the work on myself. So that's something that I do a lot of. I work on myself from personal development, communication, neurolinguistic programming. So that's a big one, and probably the thing I focus on the most, which I know a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, is really the ideal target for your product or service and who that is, and not just the industry, but within the industry, who's the specific person you should be talking to, and what is the specific problem you solve for them, and how do you position yourself? Like, one of the things that I am obsessed with is our messaging, because I think it's important to niche down as much as possible, because then you can really dial in your messaging to solve a specific problem for a specific ideal client. And one of the things I do, you may have heard of Donald Miller's brand script or story brand framework. I follow that and try to make sure our messaging aligns and resonates with who we're trying to sell to. Because with my first business, I thought everybody needs cybersecurity. So I tried to sell cybersecurity to everybody, which means I really had no message that landed with anybody, which effectively meant I sold cybersecurity to nobody. And it took me a while to realize I need to say no to all this noise and really just focus on a specific niche and a specific problem in a specific industry. And that's why now we focus on medical device cybersecurity, because I know exactly who I'm selling to. I know exactly the problem we solve. I know exactly how we help. I know our value proposition is very, very specific. And I think based on, me dealing with lots of entrepreneurs, they tend to not really understand the marketing aspect of it. But if you can have the best service and best product ever, but if you can't resonate with your ideal buyer, then it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. The last one's a business lesson for sure, that we all have gone through the phase of we want to help everybody because everyone needs what we have. And then you start to realize that it's very important to go for quality, and targeting is really important, and knowing your people and the ones that will connect with you is more important, as business model, profit, all of those other metrics are going to be really healthy if we understand the person that we're speaking to, and we kind of segment them with our marketing message. It's really important, and always, it never ends. It's an exercise that never ends. Most businesses do it at the beginning. It's like, okay, I know my avatar, I'm good. But I find that that's the only obsession we should have, right? Because things change, needs change, behaviors change. So you got to always talk to your people and be connected to them for sure. I'm curious, I was reading your shirt. So what does Blue Goat Cyber stand for? What's behind the Blue Goat name?
Well, I climb mountains quite a bit, and I've done two of the seven summits, two of the highest mountains on each continent. And I always see goats on mountains, and I'm always fascinated by the goats because they're on these very high mountains, these high peaks, and they're always like trying to get the next level. And sometimes they're in these very precarious situations, like on a cliff, where you wonder, like, how could somebody even climb that? So I admire their desire to get to the next level, their agility and their perseverance, a little bit stubbornness. So I think those are good qualities for a company. And then I like the way the blue sky looks against like a snow-covered peak. It's very calming and peaceful and grounding to me. So I thought, blue and goat would be a good combination.
I love it, and that's become your values, your probably your company colors, and also your culture. As you grow and you're scaling, you involve more people towards the mission. Beautiful. I never noticed that. It's very interesting insight. There's the goats in high momentums up there. Christian, we've actually reached the end of our interview. So I usually ask my guests for a final message at this point, and where is it that we just started the conversation? Where is it that people can further connect with you? You can share a website, social media, whatever you would like. Because the value of anything we do is always around the right connections and the people that we can support and can support us. So a final message from you doesn't have to be related to the work you do, but it can be if you would like to. And where is it that people can continue this conversation with you?
A final message for me is I think it's important to build resilience and resourcefulness. I think those are two things that are extremely important as an entrepreneur. And I build resilience by doing, Ironman triathlons, endurance events. It doesn't really matter as long as you do something to try to build your resilience, because things are going to get difficult. And then become resourceful. So that could be reading books, it could be taking courses, it could be watching YouTube videos, because I think those two things, if you don't have those or if you're lacking one of them, the entrepreneur journey is going to be extremely challenging. And then people can find me on my company website, bluegoatcyber.com, and my personal website, christianespinosa.com. And LinkedIn is probably the best other place to find me. And my books, I have 2 books I've written so far, are available on amazon.com. The Smartest Person in the Room, which is about dissolving your ego and developing emotional intelligence. And the In Between, Life in the Micro, which is about balancing, chasing a big goal with what's right in front of you. Because I've got hyper focused on big goals and destroyed everything in front of me, and I'm trying to avoid doing that in the future. So those are available on Amazon as well as Audible.
Thank you so much for sharing that message. And I think the last piece can resonate with lots of people in our audience, which are more big picture. So I love the title of your book, and I'm going to go check them out as well. So thank you so much, Christian, for the work you do. Thank you for coming on and sharing your experience, your pieces of nuggets with us. I always say that if you can connect a few dots from each person in an interview, that's how we become wiser. That's how we can learn from each other's experiences, so we can avoid some of those pains that would happen maybe if we were not aware. So thank you so much for doing that. And thank you always for watching and supporting the show. Don't forget, subscribe, review, and share. And if you need any support with scaling your company and aligning your purpose with profits, let's schedule a call and we can further chat. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another amazing guest and interview. Bye, everybody.